Oh, welcome everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Uh, Another Sunday, another meeting, another reading Risale Nur. Welcome back. Our weekly reading the treatise, and today, inshallah, we're gonna start seventh truth. And this week, as usual, we'll be joined by Colleen Turner from UK, and then we have our one of our former and older and participants, panelist Hikmat Jam from joining us Arizona. All right. So, without further ado, just a little kind of just maybe a recap. So, last week we finished the sixth truth, and we actually reread the beginning and everything. So, just a little bit of kind of reminder. So, I'm just gonna read only the eighth principle, ninth principle. So, these are one of the last kind of just notes that we took. So in eighth principle, start with this one again. He reminded us that importance of hereafter, belief in hereafter, and joining hereafter. So he says that you will understand also that the eternal maker of this transient world has another everlasting world. That is to this everlasting world that he urges and impels his servants. And the ninth principle, he concludes finally that we will understand that a being as compassionate as he, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah Almighty, will certainly give his chosen servants gifts in that world which no eye has ever seen and no ear has ever heard. He will give to humankind things image of which he has never crossed the human heart or mind before. In this, we truly believe by saying that he concludes that. All right, then. Without further ado, let's just begin the seventh truth, and inshallah, and our panelists and also other participants will help us overall to comprehend like a template on the forthcoming, inshallah, just the discussion. All right, let's begin. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, rabbil alameen, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Reading again from 10th word of seventh truth. The gate of protection and preservation, the manifestation of the names Preserver Al-Hafiz and Guardian Al-Raqib. The divine attribute of preservation protects all things with the utmost order and balance, be they large or small, trivial or sublime, wet or dry, on earth or in the heavens. The divine attribute of preservation protects all things with the utmost order and balance, be they large or small, trivial or sublime, wet or dry, on earth or in the heavens. Whatever and wherever they are, he takes stock of them with the utmost accuracy and precision. Humankind, for its part, has been gifted with humanity and raised to the rank of divine representative, Khalifa. Moreover, human beings bear the duty of the supreme trust, Amina. Bearing all this in mind, is it at all possible that human deeds would not be recorded or weighed in the scales of justice? Humankind's deeds and actions are closely related to God's comprehensive lordliness, Rububiyyah, and thus it is impossible that God would not take stock of what humans do and reward and punish them accordingly. Yes, the being that runs this cosmos preserves all things with perfect balance and order, which reflect his knowledge, wisdom, will, and power. For we see that every created being is fashioned with the utmost order and symmetry. Each of the forms that it assumes as it journeys through existence is extremely well ordered, as is the totality of those forms overall. When created beings have completed their duties and approach the end of their lives, many of the forms they have taken on during their journey on earth are stored in the minds of human beings by the Almighty Preserver. This means that once they have departed this world, they remain in the memories of human beings, each of which resembles a kind of preserved tablet, or in some similarly mirrored form. He inscribes their life histories in seeds, each of which is like the result and outcome of the whole. In this way, he ensures that all things are preserved in mirrors, which are related to both the inner and outer worlds. Human memory, the fruit of a tree, the kernel of a fruit, a flower seed, all of these demonstrate the universality and comprehensiveness of the principle of divine preservation. All right, I think it's a good time to take a break. And so far, we read almost 2 pages, and I'd like to scroll all the way back up to the beginning. And there is a question. So just I'd like to remind again. So the gate of protection. So this week we are now focusing on preservation, the preserver, Al-Hafiz, and guardian. And then there is a question, is it at all possible that human deeds would not be recorded and weighed in the scales of justice? Is the question. Now, how should we understand and what are the now examples and analogies and metaphors that are waiting for us? And I'd like to hear from our panelists, first of all, to begin with. And I'd like to start with Hikmat from Arizona first, if Hikmat don't mind. It doesn't hit so what would you like to say about these, Hikmat? So about this, especially the protection,
Salam,
this gate with two names and about the question.
yeah, salam alaikum.
Walaikum
Yeah,
salam.
I'll try, and I'm driving right now, but inshallah.
It's all right.
I
Yeah.
wish we started with culinary, but we already discussed a number of parts that
Right.
the Hafiz and then Raqib, yeah,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that everything is preserved here. And then we know that last week that we discussed as well, that Hafiz were saying that we are taking the pictures and then
Hmm.
and saving it. So
Right.
what we would like to see, yeah, we like to see that they're at developmental stage and then different ages and months and everything, right?
Hmm.
This is important so that we can go back and remember, and then also we can show that our son or daughter that look like what you were doing. So
Hmm.
everything is reserved because that, think about that. I will give you one example from the seeds, and then the study is also giving that a lot of
Hmm.
examples. The whole like the trees of the program is really reserved and saved in the like small seeds. And all
Hmm.
of them, yep, the program of like it is just kind of computer programs. And we know that we were talking about the now AI or machine
Hmm.
learning and everything, and all everything is just reserved in a single and small seeds.
Right.
And we can see the whole trees or whole plants or flowers as well. The
Yes.
other thing is that the recent research is just telling us that. So when the seed it has some kind of stress, for instance,
Hmm.
drought or water, when you plant this seed next year and more responsive or just uh, uh,
Did we lose him?
saving or reserving and everything, and that Allah is doing that. So
Hmm.
it is impossible that when you look at the whole cosmos, and then I will give some examples from the genes as well, that when you have some kind of editing, we're
Hmm.
doing that for the CRISPR,
Hmm.
editing the genes. Same genes is going to be sometimes when you have a next generation that you will have it again. And
Hmm.
the DNA repair mechanism, when you cut it, DNA repair mechanism is within the gene or the genome in human,
Hmm.
insects, and plants. I
Right.
tried in insects and plants. So
Hmm.
it's going to be still just complete and then move on. So it is impossible when you look at the whole cosmos that everything is reserved, and then there is somebody that who's just clearly watching
Hmm.
and precisely just at each one of the single nucleotide, I want to say, or atom, when we
Hmm.
look at it from the beginning and or yeah, and small pieces. So it is not possible that we will lose that whatever we are doing here, whatever we are using as a word, everything is going
Mhm.
to be saved, and then everything is going to be
Mhm.
written, and we'll see that in the future. Remember
Mhm.
that when you are in interrogated or something, or just interviewed, and you
Mhm.
can just say that, hey, I didn't say this, and they are going to say,
Mhm.
hey, this is the transcript, or this is the video, or the record, that is clearly that
Mhm.
you're saying
Mhm.
it or you're not saying it. So this is telling us
Absolutely.
that everything is going to be, yeah, uh, Hafiz, yeah, that's a
Mhm.
biggest name that I say. Everything is going to be reserved, and nothing is you're doing, even in internally,
Mhm.
that with your heart and
Mhm.
mind, everything is going to be
Mhm.
reserved, and then eventually Allah is going to show us that, inshallah. So
Mhm.
anything that we are doing, taking any steps, and any words that we are just using, it is going to be just completely saved, and then we will see it as well. So
Mhm.
this is just telling us that, inshallah, yeah,
Mhm.
we need to be really careful, or I need to be really careful what word I'm using, what
Mhm.
steps I'm
Mhm.
taking, and then what are the actions that I'm going to do. So this
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
clearly telling me that hereafter, that everything is gonna, we are gonna see it
Mhm.
right
Mhm.
after that. Yeah, whatever we do, whatever we take steps, and words that we are using, even. That's
Awesome.
all I want to say right
Mhm.
now,
Yeah,
inshallah.
thank you. Thank you, Kunajam. Thank you. Fascinating. Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, just a little bit of course, I'm just now scientific examples of them. I love it. I love it. Well, before moving to Kunajam, I see, oh, let him, I think it was just Moja. Yeah, raise his hand.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
welcome.
Walaikum salam.
Yeah, I just realized that this the very beginning, the divine attribute of preservation
Mhm.
protects all things with the utmost order and balance, be
Mhm.
they large or small,
Mhm.
trivial or sublime, wet or dry, on earth or in the heavens. So
Yes, sir.
this
Yeah.
is the studies giving the translation of two ayat. I just
Mhm.
realized this studies mentioning these ayat at the beginning of 20th word.
Mhm.
You already know استعوذ بالله ولا رطب ولا يابس إلا في كتاب مبين. So this ayah is on everything wet or dry is
Mhm.
perfect, yeah, recorded in the Kitab Mubin. Studies
Mhm.
explaining what is Kitab Mubin. Uh,
Awesome.
the
Awesome.
ayah is from Surah Al-An'am. استعوذ بالله
Mhm.
وعنده مفاتيح الغيب. So,
Mhm.
so the keys of the ghaib, unseen,
Mhm.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Mhm.
The other ayah Ustad is mentioning in the 30th word,
Mhm.
it is that 30th word, you already know that it is on the zarra,
Mhm.
the atom, the particle. Ustad is
Mhm.
mentioning the movements of the particle, how it is so under the protection, under the sustaining of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is mentioning, let me read the ayah
Please.
at the beginning of the second purpose of the
Mhm.
13th word, 30th word. وقال الذين كفروا لا يأتينا الساعة قل بلى وربي لتأتينكم عالم الغيب لا يعزب عنه مثقال ذرة في السماوات والأرض. So this ayah Ustad is
Mhm.
taking, giving the only translation. I wanted to attract your attention. Ustad is not giving directly the ayah, but giving the meaning here, taking the in the topic of the preservation. Al-Hafiz,
Mhm. Mhm.
Ismail Hafiz, he is showing this ayah. This is directly showing Allah how he is perfectly protecting, preserving. And the meaning of the ayah is, never will the hour come upon us, they say.
Mhm.
Say,
Mhm.
nay, but most surely by
Mhm.
my sustainer it will come upon you, by him who knows
Mhm.
the unseen, from whom nothing is hidden, the least little atom in the heavens or in the on the earth, nor
Mhm.
is there anything less than that is or greater, but it is in the clear book. So it is here
Mhm.
Kitab Mubin again mentioned. So Ustad is giving us, while mentioning the Akhirah, showing the proofs of the Akhirah, he is showing that how, yeah, everything, every detail is perfectly recorded in the Kitab Mubin or Imam Mubin or Lawh Mahfuz. He is using Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using different terms in the Quran. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much. And it's a really kind of nice way to remind us. And inshallah, thanks a lot for these. Yeah, just of course, of the readers and brothers. Always like you finding a nice kind of just notes and just reminding us and taking our attention, drawing our attention to those kind of points. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Again, yeah, we have another hand raised. Said Rajab, go ahead.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Uh, the point I like to need to maybe address or ask question or need some explanation about the one paragraph started with the balance and order and nizam and mizan, and then connected to the preserving the main topic. So is there something I missed that after it start with I think it's second paragraph. Yes, the being that rules cosmos preserves all things, perfect balance and order, and then says if there is a balance and order, of course there should be. It requires knowledge, wisdom, will, and power. Yes, those are certain things. Then make connection with. Till goes to the sentence when created beings have completed their duties, approached and their lives, and then start related to the main topic, which is preservation, hifz. So, is this just regular general connection, or is there any particular intentional at some point try to make it with this balance order than the hifz, mizan, and then hifz. And this is first point. And secondly, again, same paragraph at the end, I noticed it's make resembles the mirror, preserving in the mirrors, and then out the mirror also it says used for inner and outward mirror. Actually, it's in original. It's I think Dahili. Sorry. Anyway, so I can just back to English part again, and then he says the mirror analogy. Then he says human memory, fruits of tree, kernel of fruits, flower seeds, and those are the keepings in memory. But in the mirror analogy, especially inner and out worlds, so which one is the inner and which one is the outward mirror in here? Actually, I like to ask here. Like he says, human memory. Human memory start with fruits of the tree, kernel of fruits, flower seeds. Those are can we say those are the inner mirror, and what's the outer mirror? Is human memory is the outward mirror? So that mirror analogy just seemed a little bit confusing to me.
I see.
Okay, so 2 points. First was balance and order, then connection with the hifz, and then second was the mirror analogy. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. All right. I think let's just give a hand to again like the one last time the Kadir. So you have a question or comment? Go ahead.
No, I would also add one more thing here.
Please.
Most of brothers talk about the name of the Al-Hafiz, preservation of the attitudes that we do. And also here we should also remember the name of Adl and the name of the Al-Hafiz together, because both of them requires each one. Even the worldly things, when we do something, when we say that your attitudes are recorded by the cameras or something like that, most of the people, they know that this is done because of to show that if there's something fair, that because they can reject, they can say something and other things if they didn't see the proof about that. So Even in the world, when it is something recorded, we can show that this is the evidence that we can show it to you. This is your attitudes. And Ustad here says that even it is, I think it's because of the interpretation of the ayah, every small deeds, even it's wet or dry, even wherever it is, we will encounter with it in the hereafter, and Allah will show us to that. So it reminds me the name of the Al-Hafiz too, because people can object to that. They can say that we didn't do this kind of things, and Allah is Al-Adl 100%. And Allah will show that His Adl name requires to show you all these things to you, so nobody can object about that. So I think we should rethink both the names here again.
Awesome.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Yeah, great. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for the for the comment. So, all right, so far, yeah, we have yeah, now just let's scroll back up again. Now I'd like to go back to Konlucam, and so now so far Mirjam talked about the as Al-Hafiz, and Kadurjam also like now just he also emphasized that just both like names. And just Mojam brought in some, of course, some just points, like where the connection, of course, to Quran. And now Saidujam is asking, so let's just go back to Kulnajam with Saidujam's questions and comments. So, what would you like to say to us, all just things considered, and plus, of course, I mean, to address Saidujam's like a question about the order and balance, and same time, how should we understand the mirror analogy about the inner and outer worlds? Congressman, floor
Assalamu
is
alaikum.
yours. Walaikum assalam.
This is a tall order. I'm trying to remember exactly the
Yeah.
questions. As far
Uh-huh.
as the names here are concerned, we
Mhm.
talked a lot about preserver
Mhm.
last week. We talked about cinematography, photography,
Mhm. Mhm.
and how everything is sort of pushing us to this notion that preservation is something
Mhm.
inherent in the human fitra. We want to
Absolutely.
preserve, and
Mhm.
Hikmet gave an excellent example,
Mhm.
which through the static and the white noise
Mhm.
of his broadcast, we heard
Mhm.
about taking photographs of children, so when they grow up, we can show them how they used to be. So
Right.
this isn't a fitri thing that all parents do it.
Mhm.
So I'm not going to say too much about, the preservation thing, but what
Right.
struck me, and I'll try to address the other questions,
Mhm.
was the raqib. And I think this also brings in adl as well and balance.
Mhm.
Raqib is guardian, muraqaba, to guard over something. And
Mhm.
I've never really and I never really understood why preserver and guardian were there together. I just sort of took it for granted that these are, in a sense, almost tautologies, but of course they're not.
Mhm.
Preserving doesn't necessarily mean guarding, and guarding doesn't necessarily mean preserving.
Mhm.
So a guardian is someone who takes care of you. And I was thinking, like if I fly somewhere and when I land, I tell my family that I've arrived, and they always say, Alhamdulillah that you arrived safely.
Mhm.
But there's so much involved in arriving safely. It's not just that your airplane didn't fall out of the sky.
Mhm.
It's so many things could have happened, so many millions of
Absolutely.
things
Absolutely. Mhm.
unthought of could have happened,
Mhm.
First
Mhm.
of all, to jeopardize you some way. I mean, you could have had an accident on the way to the airport. You could have had a heart attack taking off. Anything could have happened. Someone could have shot you as you were getting off the plane. I mean, these are sort of outlandish things, but a million and one things could have
Yeah,
happened.
absolutely. Mhm.
And these also it's a kind of preservation because here, when Allah looks after us and takes care of us, it's so that we can arrive from A to B safely. But
Mhm.
that arriving safely is not just one thing. It's connected to everything. It's connected to everything in the universe
Mhm.
because everything is interconnected. And this is where Adr comes in. We
Mhm.
can't just focus on these. Of course, this is the gate.
Yeah.
Ostad says this is the gate of protection and preservation.
Mhm.
And here we see in this constellation, the names Al Hafiz and Al Raqib are coming to the fore, like planets moving through the constellations of stars. But we should also understand that Adl is also very important because if there is no balance and harmony, nothing can be preserved, Physically, for example, if you want to preserve something, There has to be balance, right?
Mhm.
Like if you make bread, like I've just made bread, there is a balance and a harmony that you have to adhere to. Otherwise, it's not going to rise. It's not going to cook properly. The ingredients have to be well measured.
Mhm.
And then I guard it, right? I look in the oven and I see whether it's cooked. I'm guarding it. I'm taking care of it. But there is
Mhm.
an ad and there is a mise-en and there is a harmony in all of these things.
Mhm.
So these are assumed, without ad, it doesn't work. As for the mirror, I wasn't sure exactly what that answer, the question. Well, I'm not sure of the answer, but I'm not
Mhm.
really sure of the question. Was it what do these mirrors
No. Inner
correspond to?
inner and outer worlds. How should we understand? So
I,
especially
I think
right
the
here.
inner, I think is not inner world malakut and the outer world is mulk or
Mhm.
alam al-ghaib, alam al-shahada. I can't think of anything else. Alam al-afaq, alam al-anfus. I can't
May I
remember the
just,
original.
the original is, it
Mhm.
says abi zahir ve batın aynaları ipka ediyor.
Okay,
Zahir ve batın. Yeah.
okay. So I think that corresponds to the inner and outer worlds, right?
Mhm.
I'm not sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd have to go back again and unpick the original.
Mhm.
Um, but what other mirrors can there be? Because there is mulk and there is malakut. There is zahir and there is batin, right? There
Mhm.
is alam al-shahada and there's alam al-ghaib. There is daire al-imtihan, and the other. It's gone out of my head at the moment. Um, so there are all of these binaries there,
Mhm.
and these mirrors, for example, one that I can think of now is the nafs mirrors the afaq, the anfus mirrors the afaq in many ways,
Mhm.
from the point of view of the manifestation of the divine names. The mulk mirrors the malakut, and the malakut in ways that we can't imagine. Everything we see here are like
Mhm.
translations, right?
Mhm.
Are like translations. So whatever is in mulk is also preserved and reflected in sorry, whatever's in malakut is projected and reflected, and how can I say, appears as a manifestation in Alam al Mulk. And Alam al Mulk also goes back to Alam al Malakut and is preserved. So, for example, we get a revelation, for example, we read a Quranic verse, we respond
Mhm.
to it. Our response is also preserved, our response returns, it goes
Mhm.
back. So everything is preserved. Mirrors are doing the preserving role here, but they also reflect.
They also
And
reflect.
so when a reflection goes back, it goes back to its source, it's preserved there. So our approach and our response, for example, to a revelation, which comes from the mulk, it comes from malakut through to the mulk. And we are stretched between mulk and malakut. My response to that, my reading of the signs, my
Mhm.
tasbih, tahmid, all of these things will
Mhm.
be reflected back and will be preserved.
Mhm.
That will be
Can we
preserved. Yes.
can we say like the hardware and software, like seeds is like a hardware, but the without
Mhm.
software, it's not going to execute. It's not going to operate.
I don't know about hardware and software analogy because my mind doesn't work. My mind doesn't work technically, so you'd have to explain it to me in language that
Okay,
a
okay. Let's say
4-year-old would understand.
excuse me, sir. Yeah, it's. I mean, there's a equipment, but equipment is run operate by the software. It's background. There's a software
Okay.
actually.
Mhm.
So yeah, seeds in here because it's ended the statement like first he says the seeds example and the humans memories example, and then yeah, after that he completed the sentence with the zahir and batin aynıdır diyor. So and
Yeah. Yeah.
your text is, yes, mirror, sorry, yeah, inner and out. Your translation is not quite the same with the Turkish one. Maybe it's kind of confusing, but after your alim melekut and Mulk explanation, it can be like, can we say like the seed is there where yes, with the conditions going to grow up, but it again requires a divine interactions with the seed. Without divine interaction, it's not going to work out. That's the meaning
Yeah.
software.
The life history, your life history is in Alam al Malakut, right? I think they call ayana thabita, but we don't need to digress there. So our whole history is there in a seed, and it has to be mirrored somehow, right? And so it's preserved through these mirrors, through this coming and going from Mulk and Malakut. They're bouncing off each other all the time. Things are coming from Malakut to Mulk, and they're going back as well. And that is related to Zahir and Batin. Now, however you understand Zahir and Batin, right?
Yeah.
If we can go down a little bit, it says human memory, the fruit of a tree, the kernel of a fruit, a flower seed. All of these demonstrate. If you can scroll up.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
No,
Those
the
are
other way,
the
other way. All of these demonstrate the universality and comprehensiveness of the principle of divine preservation.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So I mean, there's without really going through it with a fine-tooth comb, and going back to the original, I can't say any fairer than that really. Everything is preserved because it comes from a place where everything is preserved, and yet here as well it's also preserved in these mirrors, because mirror does a preserving act. And at the same time, I mean, we have to also factor in Raqib as well, and they're guarded. Guarding and preservation go together. So everything is preserved. You can see from a seed that everything is preserved. It means there is a source where everything exists in its original form, in its pristine form. And creation basically is the mirroring or the reflection of those seeds into a form that we can understand as creation. And this is why everything is a mirror which reflects those pristine and original forms which exist in Malakut. In Lawh Mahfuz, there's also Lawh Mahfuz Isbat, all of these different, how can I say, mechanisms which allow this mirroring and this reflecting and this manifesting.
Yes. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Kunal. Yeah, and yeah, so that's a great kind of question. It's a great kind of exercise for all of us, and just to consider and to ponder on it, and how can we just imagine, and also kind of just came to my mind, and also that the another kind of the way that I love it is especially in this one. It says like remain in the memories of human beings, and each like resembles kind of preserved tablet, so kind of mirror image and in mirror form. And then we also see everything, and then we just immediately remember. So even if, like, let's say it's been a lemon tree, just like it moves on, or just like it somehow disappears, like, but we still know what mirror is, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala basically introduce us. And then just as soon as like we see a lemon again, the next season or something, boom, like we remember that it is a lemon. So just it's basically preserved and guarded in our memories as well, and of course, and then like you just said in a Malakut. So in a universal kind of like Naboin, just think about like this, what other things are preserved and guarded at the same time, and the memories and everything. So all these like the different type forms.
Maybe one way of understanding the inner and the outer worlds, and I may be completely wrong, is that, because we are stretched between, in a sense, stretched between Mulk and Malakut as human beings, we have an outerness and an innerness, really. And I know those words don't exist, but you get what I'm trying to get at, right?
Absolutely.
There is this outer world that is the world of makhluqat, things which are created, things which we can see and sense. And we have an inner world, which of course is channeled through Malakut and is a kind of immaterial materiality. So, we have a conscience and we have a spirit, and all of these things, are Malakuti. And our memory is also Malakuti.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it is a mirror, a Malakuti mirror, which preserves every single revelation that comes to us, right? Not just the Quran, but every single sign that we see in the universe. And this has been tested actually. When they do brain surgery, the temporal lobe, and I'm not sure whether it's the front or the back or wherever it is, if it's touched during like an open brain conscious operation, the patient is able to recall things with such precision from, for example, when they were 2 year old,
Oh
2 years
wow.
old,
Wow.
or
Yes,
3 years old, and they can even sense those things as
fascinating.
well. So
Fascinating.
these are inner mirrors which are preserving, the memory is an amazing thing. And of
Hmm.
course, materialists reduce it to, the gray matter of the brain, which is crazy. It's
Hmm.
like saying, we said before, it's like saying when you watch a film, The
Hmm.
Matrix, for example, you say it's ingrained in the pixels on the TV, which is a crazy idea. Of course, it's not.
Hmm. Hmm.
The pixels there are just the medium whereby we can actually sense the film. And
Hmm.
also, the brain is just the medium whereby this memory makes itself manifest. And then there's
Hmm.
the outer world of physicality, the things that we can touch and smell and sense and all of these things.
Yeah.
So when Ustad talks about seeds, that
Hmm.
is a kind of embodied mirror and embodied preservation and an embodied, how can I say, ganjine, I can't think of the English word, cans, like treasury, right?
Hmm.
In which the future of the tree, if it's a tree, is
Hmm.
inscribed. So that's the outer world. Our bodies also record our behavior, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
If someone is obese, then that is a preservation of all the donuts that they've eaten, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That those imprints are there.
Yeah.
It's in the blood. The blood carries.
Hmm. Hmm.
When people get certain diseases, or when people do things they shouldn't do, and it shows that things start to go wrong with their body.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
This is also an outer world. Inner worlds. I mean, this is a very crude example,
Hmm.
but everything is recorded in the outer world.
Hmm.
When I'm speaking to you now, my voice, these words will carry on
Yeah.
endlessly, actually,
Hmm.
so they
Hmm.
say.
Yeah.
Um, so we'd better say the right kind of things rather than,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
rubbish that we say gets preserved forever.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
so the inner and the outer worlds are all mirrors. They're all recording devices.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's
Yeah.
just one thought.
No, no, no. You hit the right, like it's been seriously just the example. So think about it, just maybe just 15th century or 14, or maybe just even like before than that. So like this would have been like this for them. It's almost kind of impossible to understand. Telling people that just like someone's like sitting, they just overseas, like, and then somehow like at exactly the same time they are talking to each other, listening to each other, and everything. It's all just preserved, or someone like listening a record like it's been, I don't know, recorded or somehow saved like from 100 years ago, and watching movies or something like so, which was shot like it has been again like 100 years ago or something. So it's fascinating. So we can understand and we can relate these, and how beautiful actually it is. And now just it helps us also to see and to even, yeah, there are some evidences like in how is it preserved and how and guarded, and at least for some kind of limited kind of an example, and we can relate to. And
What you've just said is really
Mhm.
interesting, as you were saying it, Nazif.
Mhm.
If you go back to the medieval period, like if you go back to
Mhm.
the 1400s,
Yes,
and
sir.
you say you do know that God hears and sees
Mhm.
all that you do, don't you? And they would say, yes,
Yeah.
of course we know this. They
Mhm.
didn't need all of these
Oh yeah.
proofs. They
Yes,
didn't need
yes.
all of these things because
Yeah.
they knew.
They knew.
And
Yeah.
now look at us.
Uh-huh.
Even with all of these things, we don't
Even,
believe.
yes, sir. Yes,
Even
sir.
with all of these proofs, even all with these philosophical proofs, all of these like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
empirical proofs, we
Here, here.
still doubt. We are still
Still there.
skeptical. So this
Yeah.
is why
Unfortunately.
Quran repeats.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ustad says, don't think that the Quran actually it's not repetitive because
Mm-hmm.
when we see a repetition in Quran,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually not a repeat because it's coming in a different
Mm-hmm.
surah, for example. It's
Mm-hmm.
coming under different circumstances and different conditions.
Circumstances. Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
we
Mm-hmm.
need this, more
Yeah.
than someone
Yeah.
in the 14th century because their intuitive intellect
Mm-hmm.
was working properly then. Our intuitive
Mm-hmm.
intellects don't work today
Yeah. Yeah.
because modernity has tried to kill them off. Freud
Mm-hmm.
has tried to
Yeah.
kill them off.
Mm-hmm. 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 Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
saying that we have a mind, but we don't have a soul, we don't have a spirit, we don't have,
Mm-hmm.
intuition is just
Mm-hmm.
subjectivity.
It's been saturated. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so we
Mm-hmm.
badly need all of these examples, right? Because we can see,
Unfortunately.
like
Mm-hmm.
brother, I think Said
Mm-hmm.
said, there's the software and the hardware. People understand that. So they need these examples, you know. They're not like the four. We have regressed from the 14th century. We haven't
Unfortunately.
advanced, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, and yeah, a lot of just and it's our mind like so scattered like around, and it's everything is just become like so just confusing and complicated. As a matter of fact, it should have been the other way around. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Do we have a question or someone in the chat box? And yeah, we've discussed this 3-month diabetes blood are recorded. Oh yeah, thank you. Thanks for the reminder, Rajojo. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, and this 3-month diabetes blood counts are also recorded, mashallah. Yeah, see, yeah, just the last one. Yeah, it just records everything and just preserves it. All right. Any other comments or questions? All right. Yeah, we don't have. Okay, maybe just we can read maybe one more paragraph and then just continue discussion. And we still got like 15 more minutes, and yeah, let's just get the best of it. All right, inshallah. Bismillah. Let's continue. So, yeah, comprehensive principle of divine preservation. So we start with it goes like this in the next paragraph. Every year, the deeds of all flowers and fruits are recorded in an appropriate manner, and they are minute seeds, where the laws of creation and the images of all their future forms have also been inscribed. Do you not see this? The following spring, record of their deeds is made public in an appropriate manner, as another vast world of spring is brought into the open with the utmost order and wisdom. All of this demonstrates the powerful comprehensiveness with which the principle of divine preservation exercises itself. Now, given that the future deeds of things as trivial and transient as seeds are preserved, is it at all possible that the deeds of human beings would not be stored and guarded? From the point of view of universal lordliness, the deeds of mankind bear important fruits in the worlds of the spirit, the unseen, and the hereafter. Is it at all possible then that they should not be recorded and preserved as a matter of extreme importance? Surely it is not. Surely it is not. It says, so far what we have actually discussed, isn't it? So now just all over. So like now just there is a condition, and it's just of course the necessity. So as we discussed like from the last weeks and everything. So yes, it necessitates that yeah, there has to be some Lord, and here it is. Oh, now let's go back to again to the same order. So like we had better jump. So would you like to give more kind of just maybe insight or some examples or something looking for this paragraph, that what would you like to connect with?
Inshallah, I'll try.
Please.
I wanted to add a few things that the from previous discussion as well, and then we can continue maybe that I cover that part as well. So balance and order that brothers was asking, balance and order requires two things. One is that it is clear that somebody just organized this, right? Otherwise, that it's going to be completely spread and random. So this is one thing that we need to understand, that the balance and order, really utmost balance and order, requires that one is organizing. The second thing is that it is important. They are important. So it's not like a kind of waste that is not going to be reserved or preserved or saved. It is obvious that we will, or somebody is, whoever organized and did the balance, it is important. They are going to, or he is going to organize. So think about that, the files that we are putting in the folders, right? If it is a really important papers and files, and we put them in the order, and then we label them and clearly, and then just put it in the shelf that if we wanted to. Otherwise, that the papers that is not going to be used, it's going to be spreaded, or we are going to throw the trash can. So this is telling me that about the balance and order that is related to clearly that it is going to be preserved, and it is important. Two things that I just remember from that balance and order part. And the other thing is that inner and outer mirror, that I want to give you one example. that always that I remember that that is important in terms of when you look at the trees. The outside is that you can see the changes and everything in the outside of the trees is zahir. The outside, the mirror. And when you look at it, there is a lot of exercise and actions is going on within the trees that we cannot see. That is just a phloem, water is, or any nutrition is coming out or all inside and then going to the flowers and everything that we don't see it. That is that my understanding is the batin, which is like I always say that the inner mirror that is just going together. That so it's not separated, but it's just completely that's what we is seeing. And Polinavi was saying as well that why we are, maybe that if I understood correctly, Polinavi, correct me if I'm not really clear on that, and why that the preservation, the one named preservation and Rakib is going together. We cannot separate that because if you wanted to reserve every single action, somebody has to Rakib and watch it, right? If you turn off the camera, that's you miss some parts. So that means this is clearly telling us that every single thing that within the creation and outside the creation is clearly watched and Rakib, that divine name Rakib is clear. Otherwise, that somebody say, hey, who's watching it if there is any changes? So that's what my understanding that I don't know if I was clear on that. So
no, that's a good example.
I think this is all I wanted to say right now. The last paragraph, maybe Polinavi and other Abis can explain.
Certainly. Yeah, it's like kind of like a museum. So you have like you preserved all just everything, like, but then you have to have someone to watch it. Yeah, right. So some guardian and everything. Cool, Nijam. Yeah, what would you like to say
No, Hikmet said it much better and more concisely than I did.
Yeah, mashallah, yeah.
So that was good. Yeah, absolutely. And I've wondered about this because it's not tautological, you know. They're very close, you know. Raqib and Hafiz are very close. Hafiz, sorry, are very close. But your museum, now you made the comment about the museum. The
Yeah,
museum preserves, but they also have guards in there
guards
to
in there,
take
yes,
care
right.
of everything that's preserved.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have malaika as well, you know, who are attending every created act of Allah,
Guardian angels,
you
yeah.
know, and bearing His amr all the time. So, and we also have guardian angels. They're described as guardian angels. These are the angels which are tasked with basically this work of muraqabah, being raqib, right? Manifesting Allah's name al-Raqib and Al-Hafiz. So the Malaika have a huge task, and you know their function is very, very important. Actually, we can't understand Tawheed without understanding Malaika, but that's a different subject. And this Raqib, really, you know, every single aspect of every single act, created act and created being is preserved. And also it is taken care of. It's guarded very, very closely. So yes, you can preserve things without guarding them, and you can guard things without preserving them. But you know, Allah does both, and they both go together. And of course, then you also factor in things like Adl and Mizan and all of those other names as well, which are all. I mean, all of the names are necessary, we know, but these are the ones which are standing out.
And also just like Hikmet said, like some inner kind of actions and everything. So there are some things like going on, like the paragraphs that are kind of highlighted. So the laws of their creation and images and all the like in the future forms. So if lemon tree like it just keeps like working on it in the trunks or of the trees or the branches, we have no idea like what's going on. Like it's almost some sort of kind of an inner world kind of example for all of us because like the I know sourness of like the lemon, right? So I mean how Allah just preserves it and how the just basically the measurements like it keeps happening inside of it and then it just keeps going like to outer world. So that's kind of like a good example, I guess. That's what I pointed.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, the fact that we live in multiplicity and everything, you know,
Mhm.
we have diversity and difference, and
Yeah.
every fruit is different, you know.
Mm-hmm.
All colors are different.
Okay.
According to Microsoft, there are 14 million colors,
Oh
you know,
boy.
all different shades.
Question.
So,
Yeah.
and maybe more, and obviously
Mhm.
many that we don't know, and things that we don't know
Mhm.
are happening all the time. Inside our
Yeah.
bodies,
Yeah.
what's happening all the time,
Absolutely.
you
Yes,
know?
sir. Indeed.
And just to describe what happens with the endocrine system, would take years and years and years, and it's still not an exact science, you know. Endocrinologists really are sort of moving about in the dark with this system, you know, with its loops and feedbacks and double feedbacks and all of these things, so precise, you know, so how can I say, Latif. You see the name of Latif there as well. So, you know, we don't see all of these things, you know, and everything there is preservation and also being guarded, you know, for your blood to circulate, for your breath, you know, to come and go. This takes, you know, the preservation and guarding is there all the time in these things, but we never see it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So like, how just the great kind of points that we sometimes we see them, sometimes we just or maybe without intent, just of course not intentionally, but just somehow we kind of ignore them or something. So, but these are kind of great kind of points to see them and to remember them. Uh, what else? There's a chat box. Oh, just I thought that there was someone, and oh yeah. So maybe I see Ali Çetinkaya. Ali Hocam is here. So would you like to say a couple of words, Ali Hocam? Yeah, if you're still here with us. Maybe he's gone. Maybe he didn't hear me. Cezmi Hocam, is he still here, or do I see it?
Yeah, he
Oh,
looks. It looks like he's here, but maybe
maybe he's
not.
not. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, thank you so much. All right. So, any last thoughts from other brothers, or who would like to say a couple things, or maybe just if I missed any other guests raising hands? No, just yeah, it's just a comment. All right. Okay, so maybe it's thank you so much for again, like I just mean, so this was a kind of great kind of discussion and great way of kind of thinking. So both names and and inshallah, so maybe it's a good time to maybe just stop here. So if we move a little kind of further, so I don't think we're gonna have enough time to even read it or comment on it. But thank you so much for our panelists while you guys are still here. So, Kol Hocam, Hikmet Hocam, thank you so much for being with us and sharing your insights and comments and everything. And also the other brothers who participated and asked questions like Said Hocam, Kadir Hocam, and Cezmi Hocam. And while we still have Cezmi Hocam here, so why don't we just listen to him recite some Quran and at the same time make dua for us and inshallah just conclude for our meeting this week. The floor is yours.
Inshallah. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صدق الله العظيم. اللهم فهمنا أسرار القرآن ووفقنا لخدمته في كل آن وزمان. O Allah, grant us understanding of the mysteries of the Quran and success in the service of it at every instant, at all times. آمين. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.